I've always been the good girl, the one who married up into the powerful Southern family. As the wife of their crown prince, Noah, everyone laughed behind my back, because in his heart, there was only one woman, a proud, aloof girl from the slums, for whom he once gave up an arranged marriage, and defied his entire wealthy family. But I never cried, never fought, when he received a message that said, "I'm pregnant." I thoughtfully prepared baby supplies and gently asked, "Should I help take care of your sister during her postpartum recovery?" That's what good girls do. We don't compete, we don't argue, we understand. But 1 year later, he looked at me, exhausted, and said, "Elise, Lisa isn't nearly as obedient as you. I don't want her anymore." Chapter 1. Everyone in the circle knows. My husband Noah has a legendary love story. She was his first love, a girl from the slums. A year ago, Noah and I had an arranged marriage. The wedding, meant to signal happiness, was halfway through, when the groom vanished, without warning. I became the object of pity, all thanks to Lisa, the woman he once defied the world for. On our wedding day, she attempted suicide in despair. Just before the ring exchange, Noah received her farewell note. "Noah, the cherry blossoms in G Garden have fallen." He left the wedding in a frenzy, abandoning a luxury celebration worth tens of millions. Rushing to find Lisa, all that remained in the extravagant ballroom was me, tears clinging to my lashes. Oh, no, there was someone even angrier than me, my mother-in-law, a cold-blooded queen of commerce. They call her the Iron Rose of the business world. I wiped my tears, put on the ring, and obediently helped her greet guests. "Mommy, you've just come out of surgery. Don't get upset. It'll hurt your health." And that would break my heart. She removed the heirloom imperial jade bangle, and, in front of media and guests, slipped it onto my pale, slender wrist. Worth a cool billion. It felt like a dream. That night, the groom didn't return to the bridal suite. Paparazzi caught Noah in the hospital, guarding Lisa's wrist, marked faintly by her wound. Their silhouettes overlapped behind the glass. I remembered what my late mother once told me. "Darling, don't lose sleep over someone who sleeps soundly." So I locked the wedding gifts and red envelopes in a vault, set the passcode to Mom's birthday, and slept sweetly. Chapter 2. My family has money, too. But ever since my stepmother entered the house, everything belonged to my younger brother. As a child, she forced me to eat chopped green onions, knowing I hated them, just to test my obedience. I resisted once. The price? My brother snapped my pinky finger. From then on, I gave up playing piano. Stepmother had my fate mapped out. Either marry some 60-year-old man, or be the beard of a closeted heir. To escape that fate, I studied etiquette and cultivated myself. At banquets, I became the perfect pretty and polite girl. I got into one of the world's top art schools, majoring in painting. To be honest, if the school hadn't been world famous, my stepmother would never have let Dad pay for it. When I came back after graduation, she arranged a blind date. The man was rumored to like both men and women. Coincidentally, I'd taken emergency first aid in school. I performed CPR and used a defibrillator to save Noah's mother during her cardiac arrest. She asked me, "Would you be willing to marry my son, Noah?" I thought seriously. It was a step up. My stepmother's hand would never reach me again. I saw Noah's photo. Cold, noble, elegant features. I nodded. Of course I said yes. He was once my secret crush, the senior everyone adored. In high school, he was a legend, handsome, rich, but terribly lovesick. Never saw Lisa's true face. But that's fine. Someone once said the 3 highest forms of lasting happiness are work, self-restraint, and love. The last 2, I can give myself. As for the first, well, that's the real job of a rich wife. Chapter 3. Before the wedding, I met Noah 3 times. The first time, he only agreed to meet me to convince his mother to undergo surgery. I didn't mind. I pulled a thick stack of medical files from my Hello Kitty pink limited edition bag, and explained his mother's condition in great detail. Back then, Noah had broken off an engagement with the well-matched Celine, just to be with Lisa, the love story of a crown prince and a girl from the slums. How moving, how noble, but what he really did was slap both families in the face, to quell the fury of the broken-off in-laws. Noah's mother had no choice but to cut ties with her son, and force him to give up all family resources. Noah held his ground, with sharp business instincts. He started his own company, and soon made a name for himself. He wanted to prove to the world that his love for Lisa would never waver. But Noah's father had passed away young, and it was his mother who held the family together. For Lisa, he tore apart their bond. Mother and son hadn't spoken properly in years. I casually mentioned his mother's sacrifices, her loneliness, her longing, her vulnerability in illness. Having studied psychology, I immediately picked up on his guilt and guided the conversation accordingly, sipping my strawberry juice. I pouted and said gently, "Auntie worked so hard all these years to carry the entire family alone. She's always wanted you to come back. She's just too proud to say it." Noah fell silent. Chapter 4. The second time we met. Noah had just inherited the family business. I didn't go to the restaurant he picked. Instead, I invited him to South City's largest art gallery for inspiration. "Mr. Noah, I'm sorry. I promised a friend I would donate a painting for a charity auction to help children in remote mountain areas." We ended up talking about Da Vinci, Giorgione, and Monet. I admired his insight into art. He, in turn, showed subtle appreciation for my solid foundational skills. I'm a good girl, no matter what I study. I work hard at it, and for anyone who piques my interest, I always do thorough background research, regardless of gender. The third time we met, Noah looked at me, his gaze complicated. "Miss Elise, you should know, there's already someone in my heart, meaning, even if we got married." He could only offer me the title of wife, nothing more. I looked up at him. My cheeks flushed, and smiled politely. "I'm sorry, Mr. Noah. I also have someone I love, but he can only exist in my paintings." He was quiet for a long time, and then, his gaze deepened, as if a certain decision had been made. Chapter 5. We reached a secret agreement. We would act as respectful, well-mannered spouses in a political marriage, putting aside any romantic history. Noah was discreet, composed, well-educated, and cultured. He was more tender than outsiders imagined, and more grounded than people assumed. He had the patience to chat with older clients, and always remembered their preferences, like how he always reminded waiters not to add scallions to my food during banquets. While keeping a respectful distance, he made being around him feel comfortable. Of course, part of Noah's kindness toward me came from my constant presence by his mother's side, and my role in maintaining ties with other prestigious families. Even his ex-fiancée Celine, who had recently returned to the country, regularly attended my tea parties. But I believe the most important reason was, I never once caused trouble for Lisa. Noah had no choice but to marry me, and Lisa had cried, thrown fits, and made a scene. For the first 3 months of our marriage, she barely let him come home. But during that time, Noah had just taken over the group and was overwhelmed with work. At his mother's request, I brought him homemade meals to the office, and that's when I discovered Lisa had become Noah's assistant. She looked at me with anything but friendliness. Her gaze carried unmistakable hostility, but I simply smiled gently. I wasn't bothered. Chapter 6. I had seen Lisa back in high school. She had good grades and transferred midway into our elite private school, but in a place where status outweighed academic achievement. Lisa was at the very bottom of the social ladder. I was a freshman. She and Noah were seniors. I'd heard that his then-fiancée, Celine, made trouble for her at every turn. Yet this poor girl was always protected by the golden boy of the school. I still remember the day my younger half-brother spiked my drink with laxatives. My stomach hurt, so I went to the bathroom. That's when I overheard a commotion from a group of girls. Lisa was saying things meant to provoke Celine. To be fair, as a rich girl who'd lived a smooth life, Celine was bound to be a bit arrogant. To be humiliated by a girl who had nothing, it's hard not to snap. Lisa looked delicate and gentle, but her words cut deep, always hitting where it hurt most, even though she had started it. Celine, furious, slapped her. The bright red handprint on Lisa's cheek made Noah believe this was a long-term case of bullying by the powerful. Don't ask me why I didn't speak up and explain. Back when my mom was alive, I had a good father too. But then came a stepmother, straight out of a fairy tale villain manual. A broken pinky finger taught me the truth. There aren't many honest words in the world. A flushed face from a girl says more than 1,000 explanations. But now, with rouge and powder, who can tell real emotion from artifice anymore? Chapter 7. When I once again brought a Buddha jumps over the wall soup that had been stewing for 48 hours to the office. Lisa suddenly clutched her stomach. A look of pain spread across her face, and she forcefully pushed me to the floor, crying out, "Noah." I accidentally took a bite, and now my stomach hurts so badly. Look what she's done to me. A crowd of employees had already gathered outside the office, whispering and gossiping. The CEO's wife is back again, bringing soup and washing his underwear with a cold face. Everything she brings either gets thrown out or ends up in the assistant's stomach. Shoo. Don't talk nonsense. The assistant is the real love. The wife is just a decoration. When Noah walked out from his meeting, his expression turned stormy. He looked at me, his eyes full of suspicion. Elise, what happened? Faced with his questioning, I was helped up by someone, bit my lip, and apologized. I'm sorry. Maybe the ingredients I used weren't fresh enough, and Miss Lisa got sick from it. Lisa's eyes welled up with tears, her voice trembling as she said, Noah, you know my stomach's been bad ever since I took all those drinks for you during the startup days. Noah is a sentimental man. Back then, the driver who used to pick him up from school, he gave him a generous pension after retirement. Being forced to marry me only added to his guilt toward Lisa. What Lisa didn't know was, the reason Noah's mother allowed her to work at the company was because I begged on her behalf. When ambition doesn't match ability, it becomes a problem. Lisa was determined to prove herself, but her skills were limited. She had caused trouble at another company before, yet still refused to just be kept by Noah at home. She held her chin high and sneered at me. What's the difference between staying at home and being a canary in a cage? Chapter 8. Noah once told me that what drew him to Lisa was her unyielding spirit. Despite her humble background, she was persistent in her dreams, never bowing to reality, a rare quality in the world of fame and fortune. Back then, his father and his father's mistress both died when Noah's mother caught them cheating. The extended family demanded that she hand over all the assets. Through countless open and secret struggles, Noah witnessed his mother's fierce and ruthless nature. He didn't want to be a pawn, didn't want to be a sacrifice of a powerful family, and certainly didn't want to marry someone he didn't love like Celine. He rebelled. That's when Lisa appeared. She made him feel like, in a world full of calculations and self-interest, he had found one piece of genuine sincerity. After Celine and his mother repeatedly caused trouble for Lisa, a strong bond formed between them. It's like when you fought the world for something in your youth. You treasure it even more, don't you? After we got married, I told Noah's mother to rest and focus on recovering. I'd take care of everything else. I never gave Lisa trouble. I tolerated everything. All the outside conflicts dissolved overnight. But see, conflicts don't disappear, they just move. When the Cinderella finally gets her prince after all the hardships, the story isn't over. Not even close. Chapter 9. Noah carried Lisa in his arms, ready to take her to the hospital for a checkup. The driver, Victor, rushed over with another lunchbox in hand. Madam, I'm sorry. I picked up the wrong one earlier. The one you brought up was meant for the old estate. This one is the young master's. Noah took a look. There were shiitake mushrooms inside. As if something dawned on him, he turned to look at me. I lowered my head slightly and explained. Buddha jumps over the wall takes days to soak and cook properly. I made it in one go for both your mother and you. But since she's allergic to shiitake mushrooms and you like them, I made 2 separate versions. He understood immediately. Noah's mother was my support. I'd never do anything to harm her. Victor had been working at the house since the previous driver retired. He had no reason to lie. There was only one explanation. Lisa had set me up. She had done this kind of thing many times. And each time, I'd only give a weak explanation. If Noah didn't believe me, I'd just stay silent. Unlike Celine, who would argue with him until her face turned red, and then slap Lisa when she saw her crying in Noah's arms like some damsel in distress. In the end, being right turned into being wrong. Noah hated women who resembled his strong-willed mother, so I chose a gentle approach, silently planting seeds of doubt, waiting for the day when truth would grow and break through the surface. Lisa reacted quickly. Seeing Noah's dark expression, she hurried to explain. Noah, it might be my period. That's why my stomach hurts so badly. I'm sorry. I wrongfully accused your wife. I quickly waved my hand. It's understandable. Girls can get emotional during their period. There's some donkey hide gelatin at home that's great for replenishing blood, and golden fish maw to boost immunity. I'll bring some next time for Assistant Lisa to try. How could a prideful woman possibly accept a gift from her rival? Lisa finally dropped her act, sneering. Stop showing off in front of me. Whatever I want, Noah will buy it for me anyway. I was just being kind. It's fine if you don't want it. Then she left with a red face, looking utterly embarrassed. So obedient. Noah's expression was complicated. He knew I meant no harm. I was simply being considerate, following his mother's advice to bring him nourishing soup. But what he didn't realize, the most cunning hunters often appear as prey. Lisa was like that. So was my stepmother, and so was I. It's just a matter of who outsmarts whom in the end. Chapter 10. Late at night, Noah came home, half asleep. I stirred and prepared to vacate the master bedroom. Sorry for disturbing your rest, he said. It's all right. I sleep pretty well, I replied. Suddenly, he grabbed my soft arm, only to see a large patch of bruising. His brows furrowed. Did Lisa hurt you today? I quickly pulled my hand back. Probably not. My skin's just sensitive. It's not her fault. Noah was silent for a while before finally speaking. That time in the stairwell, she said you pushed her down the stairs. You said you didn't. Was that true? I let out a sigh. Mister, I thought you'd know better. Lisa's loved you for years, yet you married me. No matter what I do, I'm standing in opposition to her. But you also know, my family never treated me well. I've always known what's worth fighting for, and what's not. I had casually mentioned it to Noah once during an art exhibit. My stepmother used to hate that I liked painting. She wouldn't even give me money to buy paint, so I had to work part-time. Lisa was probably similar to me, on the surface. She seemed calm and composed, but without any real security or leverage. She likely felt anxious and unstable inside. I was lucky. I saved Noah's mother, and she opened an art gallery for me. Using the prestige of the Fuentes family and my talent, I gradually brought my artwork into the public eye. Art is built on both background and strength. Because of Noah's family name, many people were willing to buy my paintings, and my work was good enough to make those purchases worthwhile, hundreds of thousands, even millions. Over time, they began to appreciate and value. It was mutual benefit, an exchange of value. Chapter 11. I looked at Noah and said seriously, Lisa is different. You're all she has. Of course she feels threatened by me. Noah rubbed his temples, completely exhausted. But she didn't used to be like this. Back when Celine bullied her, I yawned deeply and said casually, people don't change overnight. They don't suddenly become better, or worse. Then I paused, pretending I'd said too much. I was just rambling. Speaking of Celine, there's something I should tell you. She got married 6 months ago. Her husband's an Ivy League graduate working on robotics since returning to the country. I heard he's looking for a business partner. A lady in the circle said her husband, who works in venture capital, is very optimistic about it. Sounds like you're well informed, Noah said with a hint of sarcasm. I stuck out my tongue playfully. My mother-in-law encouraged me to make more friends, to observe and learn. I don't have many strengths, but I'm obedient. If you're interested, I can ask Celine. This time, he looked genuinely surprised. Back then, for Lisa's sake, Noah had nearly severed all ties with Celine's family. A potential business partnership went up in smoke. His mother was furious. But there are no eternal enemies, only eternal interests. Noah was no longer a hot-headed young man who'd go to war over a woman. He understood now. I wanted to get my beauty sleep and didn't want to drag things out. So I said casually, "Nothing good comes from making decisions late at night. I ran you a bath. And the aromatherapy is already set in the master bedroom. Get some good sleep. Let's talk tomorrow." I hugged my pillow and left for the guest room. Under the thin sleepwear, my pale, delicate back was fully exposed, every line clear under the moonlight. Noah watched my retreating figure. His gaze was dark and unreadable. Chapter 12. The tension between Celine and Lisa was enough to keep Noah up all night. When he woke up, there were dark circles under his eyes. I had the butler prepare breakfast in advance. Noah agreed to my proposal. His family ran a traditional business. In recent years, both the energy and real estate sectors had declined, so Noah's own venture was in cutting-edge tech. Robotics had become a hot topic. There was no reason to miss out on that opportunity. I set the dinner meeting at Feast Glory. Celine arrived with her husband, Angelo, linking arms and beaming as she greeted me, then shot a deliberate side-eye at Noah. I obediently greeted them. "Hello, sis." "Hello, brother-in-law," Angelo teased. "Why not brother and sister-in-law instead?" Celine boasted with a grin. "Because I'm closer to Elise, obviously. Back when I was studying abroad, I had a good personality, a great school, and a solid network. At every gathering, I remembered what everyone liked to eat. Celine and I were in the same city once. One time she got drunk while upset and nearly froze to death in the snow. I noticed something was off, dragged Angelo back out to find her, and accidentally matched them together. Later, she found out I was her junior from high school. Her impression of me improved even more. When I married Noah, she assumed it was my wicked stepmother's doing. She even lit a symbolic candle for me in sympathy and asked if I wanted to run away from the wedding. For a well-behaved girl unloved by her family, what choice was there? After returning home and dating a few times, Celine eventually realized clinging to the past was pointless. She agreed to make peace between me and Noah. After all, I had gifted her several paintings for her new home, each one perfectly suited to her taste. On the way back, Noah drove with a relaxed mood. He had really clicked with Angelo. "I never thought I'd reconcile with Celine," he said, "and I definitely didn't expect forming a strong alliance could feel this easy." I chuckled to myself quietly. After so many years with Lisa, Noah must have borne a lot of pressure, both openly and in secret. But I didn't say it. Instead, I feigned surprise. "Wasn't Lisa your right-hand woman?" Noah's expression darkened. He didn't need to answer. Someone else came to gossip directly to me. Lisa, at heart, was a proud woman. She had applied for a good position at a company in South City, determined to prove she didn't need Noah's influence. She insisted on securing orders all on her own, but lacking experience. She was taken advantage of and ended up losing a lot of money. Noah's mother seized on the incident to suppress Lisa, but being a strong-willed matriarch, she had no tolerance for anyone trying to manipulate the situation. Lisa tried her usual tricks, crying, creating drama, pulling strings behind the scenes. Noah, thinking his mother was only trying to drive Lisa away, fell right into the trap. Sometimes, so-called true love thrives on the illusion of resisting the entire universe, to the point where he forgot. A healthy relationship should make you both better versions of yourselves. Chapter 13. I hosted an art exhibition. Thanks to my mother-in-law's connections, quite a few public figures showed up. Originally, those contacts belonged to Noah, but after his fallout with the family, he hit many walls during his startup days. There always comes a time for reconciliation. Watching Noah navigate the social scene with such ease and poise, it was hard to associate this composed and capable man with the once brash and reckless youth I remembered. Celine arrived holding a bouquet of fresh flowers, showing her support. I happily accepted them and had Angelo head upstairs. "Noah's in the VIP lounge, waiting for your grand entrance. Elise, you really are the perfect wife," she said, then winked. "Though my Angelo isn't too bad either." Celine's face glowed with happiness, and every word she spoke was filled with praise for her husband. Her bright, animated expressions were contagious, and I genuinely felt happy for her. Chapter 14. Someone barged in. Lisa's face turned sour the moment she saw Celine and me standing together. "Where's Noah? Why won't he answer my calls or reply to my messages?" Ever since Noah started expanding into new fields, he'd only gotten busier. He was either traveling for business or back at our residence in Rosevine East Court. I often hosted gatherings at home, afternoon teas, barbecues, garden parties, poolside drinks, even stargazing camp nights. My circle of overseas alumni kept expanding. Noah attended one of these events once and was amazed by how easily deals were made, just by chatting over food and wine. No more needing to suffer through booze-soaked business dinners or grovel before investors. These were his resources all along, he simply didn't know how to leverage them before. Lisa's background and worldview meant she could never fit into this crowd. Afraid of being looked down on, she never tried to improve herself. She clung to Noah like a drowning woman to driftwood. With her pride, she rejected anyone more accomplished than her, terrified someone better might take her only lifeline away. But isolating yourself from the world only leads to being crushed. Lisa secretly added me on WeChat with a burner account. I pretended not to notice, other than posting party pictures to my Moments feed. I'd sometimes share snapshots of my daily trophy wife life, adding new paintings to our mansion, sipping tea with my girlfriends, wearing necklaces Noah had auctioned for me. How could she possibly tolerate that kind of provocation? Her possessiveness over Noah only grew more terrifying. She'd drag him away from parties over emergencies that turned out to be nothing. Each time, I'd smile and watch him leave, then quietly collect the intel from the second half of the night. Over time, the one who felt like he was missing out on millions by leaving early was Noah himself. Chapter 15. Watching Lisa lose control and scream hysterically. I couldn't help but smile. Lisa, it's the weekend. Would you do me the honor of visiting my art exhibition? You bitch. What did you do to seduce Noah? I met him first. Don't you know you are the homewrecker? Celine had never seen a love rival completely unravel like this. Back then, Lisa played the poor student, frail but tenacious. The picture-perfect damsel in distress. A few tears in her eyes, and the night would pull her from the mud. Meanwhile, the heiress, with her temper and pride, had to eat loss after loss. But tables turn. Celine laughed, loud and unapologetic. Elise, your security sucks. How did every stray cat and rabid dog manage to sneak in here? I knew she was dying to get this off her chest, so I pretended to hesitate. Oh dear, I forgot to ask if Miss Lisa had an invitation. Maybe she doesn't know, possessiveness without status is just pitiful. Lisa had always been proud. She couldn't take that kind of hit. Elise, everyone in the social circle knows I was with Noah first. You're the one who came between us. Can you just back off? Stop clinging to a man who doesn't love you. I'm falling apart. The onlookers buzzed with whispers and gasps. Celine's temper instantly flared. She had once been Noah's fiancée, and Lisa had the nerve to go around saying the one who wasn't loved was the real mistress? Celine used to think it beneath her to leave evidence. Lisa had taken advantage of that time and again. Old grudges and new insults combined. Celine grabbed Lisa by the collar and slapped her across the face. You filthy mutt! Elise is Noah's rightful wife. If you're that shameless, go die. Lisa wasn't one to take it lying down. She raised her self-defense ring and slashed at her. I didn't expect things to escalate this fast. I rushed forward to shield Celine. But Lisa was strong. She pulled Celine down with a yank. I grabbed Lisa's arm hard, only for her to twist and slice my skin open with a jagged corner of her ring. By the time security arrived, the upstairs guests had already been alarmed. Angelo rushed to clear the crowd. Holding my wounded hand, I apologized to the guests and begged them not to post any videos. Noah looked furious. Lisa tugged at his sleeve, her stubborn face laced with false grievance. Noah, I didn't mean to cause a scene. I just panicked when you ignored me. It was Elise and Celine who provoked me first. You know how scared I am of conflict. I almost burst out laughing. High school was ages ago, yet Lisa was still playing the same sympathy card. Noah used to fall for it, but I was the good girl. I never chased his love, never acted like I owned him just because I was his wife, and I brought him valuable connections. Why on earth would I sabotage my own art exhibition, just to frame Lisa? Chapter 16. Noah came home in a bad mood, reeking of alcohol. I had just stepped out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel. I felt a little awkward. His eyes froze when he saw the long, pale cut on my arm. You didn't go to the hospital? I was busy preparing apology gifts for the guests. Didn't have time. Noah pulled out the first aid kit and brought me to the bed to bandage my wound. His low, slightly drunk voice lingered close to my ear. Elise. I'm sorry. My eyes looked at him, damp and confused. Why are you apologizing to me? Because I failed to handle the situation with Lisa. I let you get hurt over and over again. It's okay. She just loves you too much. And you? He asked. Did you marry into this house just for shelter? You've done so much for me, never asked for anything in return. You've always helped me, smoothed things over. Today at the gallery, I saw many portraits of me. I remember you once said, there's someone you love, but he can only appear in your paintings. Was that person me? I lowered my head. My face flushed like a ripe apple. Since I was a child, anything I wanted would be taken by my little brother. If I refused to give it up, my stepmother would lock me in a dark room, no food for 3 days. Later, even when I made friends and people started liking me, I still didn't dare to express myself. Noah's dark eyes locked onto me. These past days, I've realized something. Your quiet strength touches me, and your silent love moves me. His breath, warm and laced with alcohol, pressed closer. He leaned in and kissed me deeply. At some point, my towel slipped to the floor without me noticing. Frightened, I didn't resist, letting him kiss me gently, obediently. After a long while, he finally pulled away, suppressing his primal desire. A healthy relationship should help us become better versions of ourselves. Compared to Lisa, you're the one who truly fits the role of my wife. I'll talk to her. You deserve a proper answer. I placed my hand over my racing heart and nodded. Chapter 17. It was only a matter of time before Noah came clean with Lisa. After the art exhibition, the two had a massive argument. It all started when Lisa began yelling at him in public, completely ignoring the nearby reporters. Noah, I've swallowed my pride for you long enough. Noah tried to calm her down and lead her away. Stop this. Let's talk about it properly at home. But Lisa had lost control, determined to expose everything between them. Elise is a little fox. She knew you and I were meant to be, but she still forced her way between us. I can't stand watching that bitch parade around with the title of your wife. It kills me to see you spending more and more time with her. You said you'd only ever love me, but in your dreams, you called out her name. Do you have any idea what that did to me? Noah finally lost his temper and dragged her into the car. Yes, I was the one who pursued you back then. But Lisa, before I married Elise, I gave you a chance. Your family was the one who made it impossible. They insisted that if I wanted to marry you, I'd have to kneel down, one by one, and kowtow to every elder. Lisa froze. Her father, brothers, and uncles were consistently poor but obsessed with their so-called principles. They demanded endless tests of submission for a future son-in-law, like using Noah's grandfather's name to boast and leverage favors. Her brother misused company funds to gamble. Her aunt wanted help getting her drunk-driving son out of trouble. Her cousin wanted admission into a top school. Her own mother got scammed by a telecom fraudster. At that time, Noah's mother was about to undergo major surgery, and he was forced to choose his mother or his lover. Noah chose to be a good son. He felt he owed Lisa, so he did everything he could for her family. But a man's guilt has its limits. Especially that day, when Noah rushed to the hospital. He saw me pushing his mother out of the OR. Her lips were bloodless, her eyes tightly shut. That once intimidating aura had been drained by illness. She looked like an old, withered tree on the verge of collapse. She let out a soft sigh. The family business, it's my life. I'm handing it to you now. The road ahead is yours to walk. Blood runs thicker than water. An indescribable emotion stirred within Noah. And throughout all of this, Lisa never asked about his mother. Not once. But she kept asking for more, and more, for her family. And now, she dared to create a scene in public. Chapter 18. Lisa refused to break up. No matter what. She came from a humble background, with average skills. Noah was the best man she could possibly get. If she let go, where else would she find a better golden ticket? She stormed into the gallery again, convinced that I was the one turning Noah against her. Elise, you posted those things just to provoke me, didn't you? I blinked with surprise. Miss Lisa, when did you add me as a friend? She was speechless for a second, then gritted her teeth. Stop pretending to be this sweet little bunny. Don't tell me you didn't recognize my alt account. You knew I was proud, so you kept flaunting your success to highlight how worthless I am. But why? You're just lucky, born with a silver spoon, adored wherever you go. If we started from the same place, you wouldn't even be a match for my pinky. I almost wanted to say it, how when I was 8, my stepmother moved in with a younger half-brother. One day, seeing my mother pregnant, he rammed into her belly and caused a premature birth. My stepmother, my father's first love, cried and said her son didn't mean it. My father treated it as a family matter. Less than a month after my mother's death, he brought his first love and their child into our home. From that day on, I fell from heaven into hell, but I said nothing. I used every resource available to me and worked hard in silence, became well-educated and refined, learned elegance and culture, turned myself into a beautiful, graceful rose with thorns. Chapter 19. Lisa was beyond saving. Her brother raped a girl and wanted Noah to pull strings to get him out. Noah refused. Lisa blamed me for it and stormed into the gallery again. She tore up over a dozen of my paintings. Noah used to listen to me. Now he's become so cold, it's all your fault. I calmly signaled someone to record everything, shrugged, and said, Noah once stood against the entire social circle for you. If you weren't so hypocritically pure on the surface but so transactional underneath, maybe you'd have learned to use the resources of a wealthy family to strengthen yourself, instead of clinging to a man with old feelings and letting your family suck him dry like leeches. She couldn't take it anymore. Furious, she shoved me down the stairs. But years of dance training had made my body agile. I dodged her with ease. Lisa lost her balance and fell. Noah arrived just in time. She pointed at her injured leg, crying out, Noah! Elise pushed me. I said nothing. The strongest illusion between two people is always a pair of biased eyes. Once that illusion fades, the ugliest truths come to light. Noah took off his suit jacket and gently draped it over me. As long as you're all right, he said softly. Then he looked at Lisa, his eyes full of contempt. How blind was I to fall for your pathetic tricks? Lisa, limping, lunged to hug him. Noah, I gave you my whole youth. You can't just throw me away like this. He tore himself from her grip. I gave up studying abroad for you, just for you. I rejected arranged marriages with other elite families because of you. My mother hated you, and I still stood up to her for your sake. But you were never like Elise, graceful, thoughtful. You never even tried to be part of my world. You just dragged more and more trouble in. Lisa, I'm just a normal person. I get tired too. Let's end this. I'll compensate you. The color drained from her face. When love turns into calculation, there's no turning back. Chapter 20. We got into the Maybach to head home. Noah spoke with a tone of guilt. Elise, thank you for not calling the police when Lisa destroyed your paintings. Let me make it up to you. I accepted his offer with grace. Having tens of millions more in my account wasn't a bad thing. Suddenly, a text popped up on his phone. I glanced at it, just 7 words. Noah, I'm pregnant. My smile froze midair. I turned my head toward the window. Outside, the city lights shimmered like stars. The car pulled over by the curb. Noah leaned closer, whispering into my ear. Are you jealous? My eyes turned red. I didn't know the sweet little bunny Elise could get mad too. I didn't want to talk to him. I pulled at the door handle, only to find it locked. A strong arm wrapped around me. Silly girl, didn't you check who sent it? Suspicious. I took the phone. Celine? Why did she message you? At the gallery. Lisa pushed her. If you count the days, it's been about a month. She's asking for medical and emotional compensation. As she should. I nodded seriously. Then I looked up. All gentle and obedient. Should I help take care of her during postpartum recovery? Otherwise, I'm afraid Angelo might not want to work with you anymore. Noah pulled me into his arms. I can't bear to let you go. With a wave of his hand, he sent over $1 million in compensation and took care of the entire baby room for Celine's home. Chapter 21. I painted a chubby, rosy-cheeked baby in oil. Celine loved it and hung it in her room, imagining the adorable baby she'd have someday. The two families fully reconciled. One less worry for Noah, so he took me to a French restaurant. Warm golden lights sparkled like crushed gold dust. Classic oil paintings hung on the surrounding walls. He browsed the menu and ordered my favorite, French-style creamy lobster. You don't handle alcohol well. I'll get you a Moscato white wine. Sweet. Okay? I took a sip, eyes squinting in satisfaction. It's delicious, sweet. Noah's lips curved in a pampering smile. To be honest, when this man puts in effort, no one else stands a chance. He was a great conversationalist. 2 hours of fine dining passed without a single dull moment. I started to feel a little tipsy. Then Noah took out a sleek black velvet box and took a deep breath. I noticed the change in atmosphere and looked up in confusion. His usually sharp eyes now brimmed with warmth and remorse. I didn't treat you right before. I made you suffer. He opened the box, and a dazzling diamond ring sparkled before my eyes. He stood up, walked around the table, and knelt on one knee beside me. This ring should have been yours a long time ago. A flicker of surprise crossed my face, followed by mist rising in my eyes. Elise, will you forgive me, and let me love you for the rest of my life? I nodded hard, voice choked with emotion. I will. Noah's smile finally broke through, relieved and radiant, as he slipped the ring onto my finger. Then he stood up and wrapped me tightly in his arms. In families like ours, marriage is nothing but a gamble, compared to marrying a playboy. Living as a beard, or constantly battling mistresses. Becoming Noah's wife was already a pretty good outcome. Chapter 22. On the way home, Noah held my hand, fingers interlaced, his thumb gently stroking my palm. That's when I realized his private car now carried so many traces of me. Blush pink pillows, an LV cashmere blanket, a compact beauty pouch stocked with my favorite luxury brands. Bit by bit, I'd invaded his personal territory, and he let me in without even noticing, loving every moment of it. We walked into our private elevator, arms wrapped tightly around each other. Noah's embrace was strong and burning with heat. I could feel his heartbeat pounding wildly, just like mine. Back in the master bedroom, he gently pinned me against the wall. Under the hazy, dim light, the only sounds were our breaths, mingling in the silence. His gaze was deep and blazing. The next second, his lips slowly approached, brushing past my cheek, then softly grazing mine. The kiss deepened, slow, tender, full of yearning. His fingers fumbled for the clasp of my newest designer lingerie. His elegant hands trembled slightly, failing to unfasten it. I lifted my eyes to meet his. He looked a little flustered, and with a pleading tone, whispered, "Help me." And suddenly, I understood. Lisa had treated her virginity like a bargaining chip. Noah, being a man of integrity, had never touched her. He poured all his energy into his career instead. For us, this was our first time, mutual, exploratory, sincere. And Noah, he was a fast learner. In this subject, he was a straight-A student. Once he grasped the fundamentals, what followed was unrelenting passion and endless desire. And I, completely drowned in the whirlpool of his love. Chapter 23. Afterward, Noah looked thoroughly satisfied. He reached out and pulled me into his arms. I playfully bit his Adam's apple. Earlier, you whispered that you liked me. Was that true? Just now figured it out? He teased. To make it up to me, Noah went to an auction house and spent a fortune snapping up the jewelry my stepmother had her eyes on. Elise, this belonged to your mother. I brought it back, for you. When he learned I had an interest in running a company, he gave me half the shares in his new venture. Then my father came, asking for a business collaboration. I turned him down, ice cold. Noah, after learning the vile things he had done to my mother, stole several major deals from him and sent the profits straight into my account. He was that kind of man. Once he loved someone, he'd lay the entire world at her feet. I never resented that he once loved Lisa. Compared to her, greedy at heart, pretending to be pure, I preferred to translate what I wanted into calculated costs and present them gently, almost unintentionally. Noah was generous with me because I had already given him more. Chapter 24. Noah held my soft, fair hand tightly, his expression solemn. When I was with Lisa, it felt like I was fighting the whole world for love. It was passionate, explosive, but left me battered and bruised. I'd been exhausted for a long time, but my pride wouldn't let me admit it. Looking back, I was too young, too foolish. It wasn't until I met you that I realized how warm a relationship could be, one that calms the family. One where both sides nourish each other. Elise, it's your turn to answer. When did you start falling for me? A blush crept slowly across my cheeks. In high school, I worked part-time to buy painting supplies. One night, a group of thugs surrounded me. They slashed my thigh. Right before they could break my hand, the one I used to draw, you appeared out of nowhere and saved me. Not long after, Lisa showed up crying. Noah thought it was Celine who sent someone to hurt Lisa, but he was wrong. I leaned against his strong chest, murmuring softly. Later, I asked Celine. She said if she ever sought revenge, it would be direct and honorable. She'd never team up with street scum. His brows furrowed deeply. So Lisa was already using lies to manipulate me, all the way back then. Chapter 25. What Noah never expected. While trying to track down the thugs who hurt me, he stumbled on something else. Lisa called the ringleader cousin, but it was one of those cousins, the kind without any blood relation. In a dingy pool hall, Lisa wore a skimpy off-shoulder top and a mini skirt, her makeup thick. She leaned against a tattooed man with a scarred arm. Help me one more time. This time, make sure Elisa's hand is broken. The man gripped her chin and kissed her hard. You'd better serve me first. Back then, you wouldn't sleep with Noah, what? Were you scared he'd find out I had you first? Lisa let out a sultry giggle. He's such a fool. I told him I wanted to wait till marriage. He couldn't have me. So he always felt guilty and did everything I asked. Noah's chest heaved violently. He charged forward, grabbed Lisa's arm, and roared. To you, what the hell am I? Lisa was stunned by his sudden arrival, panic flashing in her eyes. Noah? Why are you here? I was drunk. I didn't mean what I said. Don't take it seriously. Noah stared at her, his eyes sharp and bitter. Was I not good to you? Why would you treat me like this? She bit her lip, silent, but anger and betrayal surged through Noah like a tidal wave. The love he once longed for now felt like a cruel joke. He gave Lisa one last glance, his eyes filled with utter disappointment and finality, and he walked out of that pool hall without looking back. Chapter 26. After that day, all the privileges Lisa's family had received from Noah's company were revoked. Lisa's brother, just released from jail after paying compensation, was caught again by the auditing department for embezzling large sums of company funds. He was handed over to the judiciary. Then came Lisa's cousin, the one who had driven drunk. His case was exposed and he now faced prison. He cursed Lisa, blaming her for destroying the entire family. But that wasn't the end of it. Lisa's uncle had used Noah's connections to get his son into a prestigious school. One phone call from Noah, everything was cancelled. The uncle's whole family was filled with resentment, and they directed all their rage at Lisa. Meanwhile, her mother, exhausted from the chain of disasters, fell prey to a scammer who talked circles around her and cheated her out of the last of her savings. She collapsed to the floor, wailing in despair. Lisa sat in her room, eyes cold, cursing my name again and again, blaming me for taking everything from her. Chapter 27. Darkness blanketed the city like a thick veil. Lisa's eyes were bloodshot, her lips bitten raw, as she stared intently at the gallery, gleaming in the heart of the bustling city. Inside my studio, I was immersed in inspiration, preparing for the next exhibition. Taking advantage of the staff being off duty, Lisa dragged a gas canister toward the gallery. The stench of gasoline quickly permeated the air. Her eyes were filled with madness and desperation. Elise, it's all your fault. Why did you steal the man who loved me most? If I can't have him, then neither can you. Her gaze sharpened with malice. She pulled out a lighter and without hesitation, hurled it toward the gasoline-soaked floor. Flames erupted like a monster unleashed. In a blink, they consumed the entire gallery. But I had already escaped through the emergency exit. The wind changed. The firelight illuminated Lisa's twisted, horrifying face. She suffered severe burns, and now faced a lawsuit for massive damages. Chapter 28. Noah went to see Lisa for the last time. She lay in a sterile burn unit, her body charred black, and asked him if he loved her. After hearing his no, Lisa intended to end her life and do it right in front of Noah. She thought that if she died, the world would finally love her. How foolish. How naive. But reality doesn't work that way. Noah felt sick for a whole week, curled in my arms. He mumbled with a heavy voice, "Elise, how could I have ever fallen in love with an arsonist who lied through her teeth?" I replied, 9/10 of love is self-made by the lover. Only 1/10 is about the person being loved. Back then, Noah was a boy obsessed with black and white ideals. Lisa, dressed in an angelic white dress, showed up exactly at that moment. What he saw as purity was merely his self-imposed filter. Just like now, his belief that I'm the perfect good girl is also a story he's been repeating to himself until it became truth. But to me, for children from families like ours, marriage is like being reborn. Whether you love or not, that's never the most important thing. What matters is what you can hold firmly in your hands. Chapter 29. During the Qingming festival, Noah went with me to visit my mother's grave. After I cleaned the tombstone, he placed a bouquet of fresh flowers on it. I held his hand, counted on my fingers, and earnestly reported, "Mom, your amazing son-in-law and I go on morning walks every day. On weekends, we host parties and invite friends over. We stroll through the city, searching for the old shops you loved and trying all kinds of food. On snowy days, we snuggle on the sofa and watch my favorite films." Noah smiled at me warmly. The aloofness he once carried had long faded. Now his gaze was full of affection and tenderness. A year later, I gave birth to a pair of adorable twins, a boy and a girl. Celine was beyond thrilled and teased us about wanting to marry into our family. In the future, whether my daughter likes your son or your daughter, I don't mind. I'm open-minded. Well, I do mind, Noah said, exasperated. Then he turned around to pick up our son and soothe our daughter, an absolute full-time super dad. Chapter 30. My mother-in-law had long handed over the family reins to me. Every month, Noah deposited money into my account so I could invest in companies I liked. Angelo's robotics startup went viral. In just a short time, my personal assets multiplied 20-fold. Riding the wave, I used my network to uncover more high-potential projects. Noah teased me, if this kept up, I'd soon be richer than him. I just smiled without answering. Meanwhile, my father transferred control of the company to his son. Then, like a storm, everything collapsed. Partners pulled out. Orders vanished like snow in the sun. Accounts were frozen. The capital chain snapped. The company trembled on the brink of ruin. To make matters worse, my stepmother fell victim to a high-level romance scam. All the jewelry she had stolen from my mother, gone. My father slapped her in a rage, screaming that it was her fault for spoiling her son, teaching him to gamble in international waters. But the losses were too massive. Someone came after him and cut off both his legs. When the family came to beg me, I stared coldly at the people who had once tormented my mother. What ruined them wasn't just me. It was also those trying to please me, those who didn't want me upset. A foot from each was enough to stomp evil into the dirt. My father, consumed by anger, suffered a stroke. My stepmother, now caring for a cripple and a sick man in a rented apartment, lived a bitter life. Nothing like the high-end mighty socialite she used to be. When the burden became too much, she lit the charcoal and took both father and son with her. Chapter 31. Noah was afraid I'd be shaken. That same day, he came home with a $30 million ruby set. "Just to calm your nerves," he said. After 5 years together, I had truly come to understand this man. He didn't make empty promises. He didn't throw tantrums. He never ran from responsibility, except for being a bit of a love fool once, staying blindly by another woman's side. But over time, he fell deeply in love with me, with our little family. Whenever he had a spare moment, he rushed home to help me assess new investments, to play basketball with our son, to accompany our daughter on the piano. What touched me most was his attention to detail. Once, when I was bedridden with illness, he sat beside me, gently whispered, "Rest well, I'll be right here." He didn't dismiss me with a "drink more water." He didn't hand me off to a nanny. And I realized, when you don't expect anything, you stop fearing loss. That's when love thrives. I kissed the corner of Noah's lips and tucked the ruby set into the safe. The password was still my mother's birthday. I would never forget her last words to me. "My darling girl, you love butterflies, but don't chase them. Go plant flowers." I got what I wished for, and may my daughter never have to walk the path I did. Let her grow up happy, free, and in full bloom, in the most radiant of seasons.